Commodities market time now. We have Bolanle Agbaje here, senior analyst, financial derivatives company.
Hi.
Good afternoon. Oh, good morning.
Good morning.
Second time. I guess because I saw you on Tuesday.
Yes.
All right. So we saw the inflation figure, but first of all, the issue of the cash crunch. Of course, it's obviously a major factor in the inflation number, but share with us your experience since the announcement by the central bank. Has anything changed?
Well, nothing has changed so far in terms of, like, I haven't seen the old Naira notes. I'm only seeing that on TV. I haven't had time to go to the bank yet or visit any ATMs. But from what you played earlier, it seems like it hasn't really changed much as they've probably followed with the Supreme Court's ruling.
Or say they followed.
Yes, to release the old Naira notes. It seems like we don't know if it's intentional or not, but it seems like they are making sure that this is not still, in the market as it should. And what that means is going forward, we'll probably see the same, or probably have the same problems that we faced in the month of February. And, slow down in business activity. And just, the fact that we can't get back to business as usual. And it was still halted by this currency or cash crunch that we're facing at the moment. But I'm sure with what you've shown now, probably the CBN would make sure that, they talk to these banks, and the rollout system and the implementation of these policies that they keep. I think implementation is really a big problem for us in this country. We always, roll out plans, roll out policies, and trying to, figure out the best way to implement this has always been a problem for the country. And it seems like it's playing in this situation.
Well, we hope that the incoming administration is watching and actually looking out for those pit holes or those gaps.
Yes.
That could be the first place to start off with.
Of course.
To give Nigerians a sense of hope.
Yes.
After all, the president-elect promised renewed hope. That could be one way to actually tell Nigeria, okay, things are going to be different. I'm giving you renewed hope in this area.
Yes, and I think for the CBN, it seems like, they're trying to really taper inflation. And I'm sure using this cash scarcity it seems like it's one method they're trying to.
Is it working though? Because we see that we see that it's from 21.82 to 21.91.
Yes.
So can we say that
if you look at it this way, inflation more or less remained flat if we look at it, because they only inched up by about 0.09%, which some analysts would probably say is kind of insignificant. And what we only saw, I think core inflation actually declined for the first time since March 2022. And also month-on-month inflation, which is a better reflection of what is actually happening in the economy, also declined as well to about 1.71, which is great. But we only saw,
food inflation
increase, but it only increreased by about 0.03%.
Yeah, not so much, yes.
Not so much.
It went from 24.32 to 24.35.
Yes, exactly. So it
just
probably,
like
it probably means it's the inconvenience of the cash crunch that, resulted in the slight inch up we had seen with inflation. Because all in all, when you reduce the velocity of money in circulation, which also contributes to inflation, you see the opposite effect. So you see inflation, going down, as well as, when you increase interest rates and, some other methods that the monetary policy methods that, the CBN implements. So I'm sure this is one thing they're looking at. And it'll be nice to see what they do with, their meeting next week. And
I guess we can. I mean, the CBN governor in Johannesburg is telling other central bank governors, to give guidelines, obviously because of the Silicon Valley, but
so they can anticipate.
It sounds like the hike is going to be harsh or worse.
So it'll just be nice to wait and see, because on one hand you saw inflation go up, but it wasn't that significant.
The rate of hike.
So they would most likely either leave it as status quo or increase interest rates marginally. So it'll just be nice to see, and obviously coming from the elections and whatever happens with the elections as well, it would be nice to see what the CBN will do next week.
And then we now have the threat of that Silicon Valley bank.
Yes, and Credit Suisse has joined as well.
And you see, the equities, the bank stocks have been, even in Nigeria. Even in Nigeria.
There's panic going on right now, and it's so unprecedented. We're even confused about what exactly is going on. You can see the impact on oil prices as well.
Yes.
Nobody anticipated that, oil prices will be trading at $74 per barrel. Imagine our expectations of oil prices at at this time was supposed to be within the ranges of, 80 and above. Even at 90, we expected, because we haven't seen any significant increase in supply from OPEC's point of view, and also the renewed
And remember,
hope from
Russia
China.
also, they've cut down on their output.
Exactly.
So it's supposed
but
to...
we're getting news that they've actually increased their production because they're getting traction from India and China, and which is obviously...
And they now have new partners in UAE, Saudi Arabia, surprisingly.
Exactly. So that's also, shouldn't we expected that this shouldn't even bring, oil prices down to where it is now. So it's quite shocking for us and Nigerians as consumers of this, or suppliers of oil. We're obviously on the receiving end and facing...
And our benchmark is 70.
Yes.
So we're very close to the edge. It's so close.
Yes, but it's quite sad what's happening with Credit Suisse. Going forward, it's just be nice to watch the news and see, hopefully it stops with Credit Suisse and it doesn't,
I think they do have a rescue coming their way.
Well, their government is still, they haven't really said much because, it's from Switzerland, and it would be nice to see what, they do. With the US, they already mentioned that there was bailout, ready in place for, the two banks that faced distress with. But also the Moody's situation as well, there's been downgrade for the US banking sector from, stable to negative, which is not so great and has increased panic and fear within the, and most investors are trying to liquidate their assets so that they don't, everybody has learned their lessons from the financial crisis before, and nobody wants to face that going forward.
Yeah, but where will people put their money? Because you have to put your money somewhere.
Yes, I'm hearing the U.S. Treasury is one place as well that most investors are running to because it's safe at the moment, and obviously some other commodities that we believe are long term, and you're always going to get your money from those.
And on Tuesday we talked about gold also.
Yes,
that's also getting some attention at this time. Well, thank you so much. We do hope this banking
crisis
does not get worse than it is now.
I really do hope
we already see it in equities. We see the banking stocks, and
it will definitely mean a recession if that occurs.
We don't want recession. The experience of the last recession was not good for anyone at all. So we do not hope for that. But thank you so much.
Thank you,
Agbaje, Senior Analyst, Financial Derivatives Company, for your time this morning.
Thank you.